However, this is not directly proportional to your ad rank. Let me give you an example here. To increase your ad position, the cost to increase your ad position, let's say you want to go from position 4 to position 1. That may not be directly relative to your return on investment. Let me give you an example here. If you look at this this screen here, we've got a cost per click of $13, and that'll give us 90 impressions. If we bid $6.71, that'll give us 83 impressions. So our estimate is that by basically cutting our bid in half, we're only losing less than 10% of our impressions. So to increase traffic by 8.4%, our bid has to go up by 93%. So this is an area where, again, search engine marketers make their money by finding these sweet spots between high ad ranks and high ROI. And the reason is, and it's largely because inexperienced search marketers covet positions 1, 2, 3 and battle it out to earn those positions, when positions 4, 5, and 6 typically perform very, very well, yet don't cost anywhere nearly as much as position 1, 2, and 3. So it's important that we have a real good understanding of our ad position ROI, and that it's not always important to be in position number 1. Now, there are times you'll want to be in position number 1 for branding purposes, for competitive purposes, but more often than not, it's important to find that sweet spot between impressions and overall bid rate. One of the next areas to be cognizant of that's great with a lot of the paid search applications is Google Analytics integration. And so what we can do is we can take our keywords, and just as we could look at our max pay-per-click, our clicks, our impressions, our click-through ratios, our average positions, we can also take Google Analytics information and port it back into AdWords or a lot of programs that will manage Yahoo or MSN. And what that will allow us to do is look at how a keyword performed on a conversion basis. So we can see that this Poor Credit Auto Loans had a 6.67% click-through ratio and had 1 conversion. So we can look at the average cost per conversion and see which keywords not only are driving traffic, but which keywords are drawing conversions. And this will allow us to make our search engine marketing much more return on investment oriented. It's real important to look at. Earlier we told you about conversions and that they're not always email leads. And here's something to look at when we look at the past 5 years of internet usage. When you look at the past 5 years from 2004 to 2008, the number of people using the internet as part of the vehicle shopping process has increased 11 percentage points. Yet the number of people over the past 5 years who've submitted a lead has only increased 2 percentage points. So the way that people, if you look at the most recent statistics for 2008, and these numbers come from J.D. Power, you'll see that 55% of the people who buy a car from you go to your website but never send you a lead. 23% of the people who buy a car from you don't go on the internet at all. And 22% of the people who buy a car from you send you a lead. So if you exclusively focus on paid search to generate leads, you're focusing on the single smallest segment of your consumers. Actually, more people across the country on average don't use the internet than send internet leads. So when you look at this, that's why we tend to look at Google Analytics use of engagement goals. And Google Analytics gives you a whole number of goals that allows you to look at time on site, number of pages viewed, phone calls, and all sorts of other actions on your site, and import them back into Google Analytics. So not only can you bid on keywords based on how many emails you're receiving, you can also bid on keywords based on the fact of whether or not traffic from a particular keyword views lots of used cars. Traffic from a particular keyword tends to view your map and directions page, or traffic from a particular keyword tends to visit your new car showroom. And so by looking at a much deeper set of conversions than just email leads, we'll be able to increase the total overall return on investment from our search marketing. Now finally, just a little bit of background. Moore & Scarry is a traditional full-service automotive advertising agency, so probably about 65% of what we do is still radio and television and newspaper. So this helps us have some really good perspective on the power of the internet or the fallacies of the internet. But this is an area where you can see the power of the internet. If someone goes to Google and types in 2009 Nissan Altima, or somebody's watching the Colts football game, which person is more likely a Nissan Altima buyer? Clearly everybody over here either wants to buy, service, or sell a Nissan Altima. Person over here, if Nissan Altimas make up 4% of the total overall car sales, then theoretically 4% of the people watching a Colts game are Nissan buyers. So 96% of them aren't Nissan buyers. And which person's viewing and behavior can we track better? Well, after somebody types in Nissan Altima and ends up on our site, we can see exactly what they did, page by page, what pages they viewed, how long they stayed on our site, whether they emailed us, whether they called us. Someone watching the Colts game, much harder to track them. So when we look at that, it's really important that you understand how accurate and efficient paid search advertising can be. Now there's a couple other areas that you'll need to look at, in that most of you will be using a provider to help manage your paid search, and it's probably the best option. Like I said, there's a plethora of integrated applications that need to be used. There's a lot of skills that need to be developed, and there's a lot of philosophies that need to be tested over time. The main providers will come and talk to you about their Google certifications. And while these all are typically lumped into one, well, I'm Google certified, or this company's Google certified, it's actually three very distinct and different tiers. Someone can be Google AdWords qualified and be an individual. A Google qualified individual must pass Google's test and manage $1,000 spend. It's not a lot of money. Test isn't that hard to do. A Google AdWords qualified company must employ 2 qualified individuals, or 2 people that have met this individual qualifications, and manage a spend of over $400,000 per year. You can see that this is a significant step from being a qualified individual to being a qualified company, and that typically you should look for qualified companies to provide your service as opposed to qualified individuals. The highest ranking is an AdWords reseller, which has all the same qualifications of a company, except they have enough clients that the reseller receives a commission on AdWords sales. I think right now there are only 30 resellers in the entire world. The commissions are highly coveted. The program's pretty secretive. And so if you have a reseller, you can be pretty confident that you're doing business with a reputable company. Although a lot of our clients ask if their expectation can be to receive the reseller's commission back, and I've never heard of anyone doing it. But these are the different certifications that you'll see when people come to you and talk to you about your search engine marketing. At this point, we're going to take questions and answers. But for those of you on the recorded webinar, we're going to stop. If you're on the recorded webinar and you have questions, you're clearly viewing this on our site. You can go to mooreandscarry.com, mooreandscarry.com. Feel free to call us, contact us by email, and we'll answer all the questions that you have. So for those of you staying on the webinar, please enter your questions to the question window now.